Hey, this is Alison with some important news from Malones. I just wanted to try to communicate with our friends, and this seems like a good way to do it, to just talk to you guys. We have a request for you that's pretty important. We're just sending this to people that we actually know well, that we know care about us and care about the things that we think are important as well. So I'm asking you for help. As you know, we came here to DC almost 3 years ago to stand up for inventors. And it turns out that one of our biggest enemies is our own representative. So for 3 years after he got elected, we've been trying to talk to Van Taylor, and we have, and we've talked to his staff, and he's taken no action, no action. Finally, Josh just confronted him recently and said, "Are you going to support inventors? Do you even care about all these stories that we've told you about people, normal Americans, who've come up with a great idea, and they were the first ones to do so. They got the patent, they did everything right, everything legally. They built a business around that. And then a bigger corporation came and just stole it through the system that Congress set up. Do you even care about that?" And he said, "Well, it doesn't sound that bad. Actually, I'm in favor of administrative courts." And we were like, what? That's the worst thing that we can see in our government. So the administrative state is what we are fighting against. These are people who have no incentive to represent the American people well. They have no accountability. It's not representative government at all. What we've seen is it's even almost impossible to fire somebody in that position. There are good people who hold those positions, but the incentives and the structures are just not there to make that a fruitful or a good, positive position. And here's Van Taylor saying he wants more of that. So we were taken aback. He said he will not support inventors. He will not stand behind our bills. So we're realizing that we really needed to be focusing there. Here we are in Congress, and our own representative is not behind us. That's a problem. The more we've looked into it, the more we've seen that he has betrayed his voters in numerous important ways, not just with property rights, which I think we should all care about, but with what he said directly to us, and then looking at his voting record, it's been very alarming. So we see that this is an important thing that we think God's put in front of us to try to address. Just to remind you, in case you don't know, because I'm talking to people who know us, we do volunteer full time. So we're not making a profit. We don't stand to make a profit. We have no skin in this game. We're not looking to run for office ourselves, but we want to have accomplished something tangible for inventors, for all Americans who benefit from their incredible ideas and the companies built upon them, and for people really everywhere in the world who want life to be better in some way. We are full-time doing that as a family, and we have been for years. So we would like Van Taylor to not be reelected, and in fact, we think it's important that he not be. Some people have asked, just in our family, is a negative campaign an okay thing to do? I think that there are major problems that could occur with a negative campaign, such as lies. If we were lying about the guy, that would be totally wrong. Exaggerations. If we are exaggerating about what he had done or who he is or how he's doing his job, any of those things, that would be totally wrong. It would be suspect if we were wanting to get power from him in his place. I wouldn't do a negative campaign in that situation. But again, we're not standing to gain here. We're seeing someone who does not represent the voters that put him in office. I'm pretty sure if you voted for Van Taylor, you have been betrayed. Look at what he's done in Congress. It just hasn't been good. I don't know what his goals are, and I don't want to presume that I do. It looks like somebody who wants to stay in Congress, making friends in Congress, making friends in DC. And yet, I don't know. I don't know if that's his heart. I don't know what his motivations are. I just know he's not doing what the people of Plano and the surrounding areas which he represents would want him to do. And specifically, I know that he directly opposes us and what we're trying to do to go back to the Constitution, to restore property rights, to stand up specifically for inventors. So he is... the other thing is this going to make any difference? Like when I talk to Josh, I'm like, okay, this is one out of 435. That's 434 other Congress people that we need to convince. And I mean, we have done that with some of them. Does this really make any difference for inventors? And the answer is actually yeah. It surprisingly does. So U.S. Inventor, that's the nonprofit that Josh became a part of. He became maybe the 5th member, not totally sure. And that's where we've been volunteering this whole time. It has grown tremendously. It has actually made major progress in a lot of different areas. So some of Josh's briefs that he's written for Supreme Court are quoted by some of the justices. We still need allies in that field, but we've got one at least. We've got people listening there. He's got a bill in Congress and another one he's totally supporting. Like, that's huge. He has a nickname in Congress. We've already replaced one patent director. We opposed another and got a lot of attention together as a group, everybody involved. We've blocked how many bills? I don't even know. Completely blocked bills that look like they were totally going through. We've put a stop to those because they were only going to make things far worse for inventors. It's just been, by DC standards, pretty much incredible what God has done through Josh and U.S. Inventor in the time that we've been here. He works with some great people, and we're thankful for them. But if we look from the perspective of inventors, nothing has really changed. He has been able to represent or fund the representation for a few of those individuals, actually quite a few of those individuals, but a few of them were successful in keeping their property so that they could fight for themselves. So that victory is like the beginning of a fight for them, but it's a victory. That has happened. But otherwise, nothing. So I would say at least a week, 2 new inventors lose everything, pretty much everything that they own often. Like I said, this is a regular occurrence, and Josh is watching these heartbreaking stories. He's reaching out to these people as fast as he can. He's trying to help represent, trying to help save what he can, trying to send people in there to do. None of that has really changed for inventors. So if we can prevent Van Taylor from going back to Congress, it actually, Josh says, it's like a hide on the wall. We're realizing that we can make friends with congressmen and congresswomen all day and all night, and that can be good. And people who really care about what's right and what's wrong and have some way to stay elected can stand up to a limited degree for things that are right, and that's great, but that won't get anything done. We need to set up accountability so that people will have incentive to do the right thing, and that's what this is. So if we can tell him, we've given you many chances, we've asked you to do the right thing, you've told us that you oppose the right thing and that you want to work for more destruction, for more stealing, for more injustice. And for that reason, we're going to hold you accountable and try to get you not elected, try to get someone else in that job who will stand up for things that are important to people, to God, to the country. That's why we're doing this. And with that, it kind of gives U.S. Inventor more teeth. And so that will help. We've taken him out. If we had to say it, in a really cool way, we can take you out. We need you to step up and do the right thing. Yeah, we'd say that when we're feeling really aggressive with a congressperson. Anyway, we really need our friends to help. Josh is like, this is our home. These are our people. If we can't get a hold of our own friends and our own people who already understand a lot of these issues and get them involved to try to change this election coming up, what can we do? Where can we work? I'm like, yeah, good point. And we have a lot of people in the Plano area that are you, dear friends that we love and we care about. And we know you know what's right and wrong here. You've thought about these things. So that's why I'm sending this video to you and I'm asking you for help. So we have 2 action items specifically that we really would like you to say yes to if possible. So for one, Josh made a ton of signs that just say Van Taylor betrayed us, and we need to put those all over the place. And there've been so many delays with the ice. It put production behind. Then we redesigned the signs to make sure it's clear, very honest, and hopefully effective. That took more time. And then the sign makers are taking even more time. It's getting down to the wire. We have literally days before early voting starts. So I think a day once the signs come out before early voting starts. So if you could possibly show up at our house on Saturday morning at 8 or thereabouts. Josh has it all organized. He's figured out how to do this, where you put signs. He's talked to wonderful people in Plano who have experience here, and nobody has a system. So anyway, we've kind of cracked that nut, figured it out. He's got a plan. He can hand you signs, and you can go drive and put them in the dirt, so that when people drive around Plano, they're going to have to be confronted with the idea that Van Taylor has betrayed them and what they, if they voted for him, elected him to do, and they can just look into it. They can look at his voting record in minutes if they care. If they don't even look that up, at least they'll have the idea in their mind, this guy is not what he said that he was going to be, and don't just go mark his name when you go to vote. Secondly, we need to actually communicate with more people. So this is one of those times where I'm asking my friends to do something political. Please tell other people, this Van Taylor is doing a job that we don't believe in. Van Taylor has betrayed his voters. Van Taylor directly stands against inventors, against property rights, and for more administrative state. This is a huge problem. If you can tell, I don't know, 10 people, all the people you care about, any group you're in, and ask them to also look into it themselves and then share as well, that's how you kind of do these things. Like, it just takes a lot of numbers to get done. It's almost impossible to take out an incumbent just because people recognize their name, so they check the box right beside them, even if they know nothing about them. Hey, the signs look really professional, and that I know how to spell that. Like, that's kind of offensive. I shouldn't have said that. But really, that's sometimes all I know about somebody. Oh, I've seen that sign. It looked nice. I should vote for them. That's not really what we need. So if you could take one or two of those action items and do them just as our friends, hopefully that can very quickly multiply and get to enough people that we can put somebody in office who is actually going to stand up for what is right and who's going to protect inventors for sure, and actually a whole list of other things that I think that we care about. The other thing is that if we can get this done, we feel like we can come home. If we can do this one thing that's tangible for inventors, hopefully we're going to be able to hand this off to someone else. And I don't know who else is going to work for free. That's difficult. So we're going to have to try to fundraise and pay someone's salary to be part of Josh, like part of what he does now, because somebody's got to defend these people. Somebody's got to stand up for the Constitution. We don't think it's our job like forever, and we will probably still be, he'll probably still be working on it full time, but we feel like he would be able to come home to Plano. So, hey, if you like us at all, that should be motivation. Really, for real, if you care about property rights, if you care about innovation, if you care about our country, if you care about the innocent victims targeted because they contributed to society, if you care about the administrative state and stopping that, if you care about honesty in elections, if you care about people being in office who actually want to do the right thing rather than continue their career, then I would ask you to vote for someone other than Van Taylor. Share that with as many people as you can, and come help us put out signs on Saturday. So thank you for sitting through this. I know that was super long, but we love you guys, and hopefully you'll see Josh really soon. Okay, thanks.